In a world where the noise of comparison, imperfection, and external validation deafens our inner peace, Stoicism lights a path to a quieter, more resilient self. Stoics like Marcus Aurelius and Seneca didn't just survive the chaos of their times. They thrived by turning inward, mastering their minds, and focusing solely on what was within their control. Today, we dive deep into how adopting a Stoic mindset isn't just about enduring life's storms. It's about standing firm when everything else is swirling around you. This journey isn't merely about historical philosophy. It's about transforming the way we perceive our challenges and victories, ensuring that each step we take is grounded in wisdom and self-mastery. So, if you're tired of feeling like a leaf tossed in the wind of life's uncertainties, stay tuned as we explore how to anchor your self-esteem in the bedrock of Stoic principles. If you appreciate what we're doing here, a simple free favor I'll ask from you is to hit the subscribe button. Also, please don't skip any part of the video to fully grasp how these ancient strategies can be transformative in our modern lives. Number 1. Mind reading. Imagine walking into a room and feeling every eye on you, not with admiration but a critique. You decode every whisper, every glance as a negative judgment. Stoicism, with its deep roots in controlling only what is in our hands, invites us to shift this perspective drastically. The Stoic philosophers like Epictetus taught that it's not events themselves that disturb us, but the views we take of them. When we assume we know the thoughts of those around us, we're not just overstepping our bounds, we're also undermining our mental peace. Epictetus would argue that these assumptions are external things we cannot control, and thus should not depend on for our emotional stability. He'd advise us to focus inward, asking ourselves why we give other people's presumed thoughts such power, and how we might shift our focus from external validation to internal peace. This is not just about dismissing others' opinions, it's about building a fortress around our self-esteem, anchored not by the shifting sands of others' perceptions, but by the bedrock of our own self-approval. When we stop trying to read minds, we start to engage with the world more authentically. We react not out of insecurity, but from a place of strength and self-assurance, responding only to what is said and done, not what is imagined. Stoicism doesn't just help us manage our reactions, it empowers us to lead lives of emotional independence and rational responses. So next time you catch yourself slipping into the mind-reading trap, remember that Stoic wisdom offers a way out. It teaches us to let go of the need to control the uncontrollable and to find contentment in our own thoughts and actions. This isn't just philosophy, it's a practical tool for anyone tired of feeling buffeted by the silent judgments of an imagined audience. Number 2. Suppressing emotions. Stoicism, founded in the tranquility of thoughtful reflection, proposes that emotions are natural but must be responded to with reason. The Stoic wisdom from philosophers like Seneca emphasizes that while we can't control the emotions that arise, we can control our responses to them. He advised that acknowledging emotions and understanding their origins contributes to a well-examined life, which is the essence of Stoic living. When we suppress our emotions, we might think we're being strong or resilient, but what we're really doing is setting ourselves up for a bigger emotional fallout down the road. Unaddressed emotions don't fade away. They build up, gather strength, and can overwhelm us when we least expect it. Stoicism teaches us the art of perspective, viewing our emotions through the lens of objectivity and logic, asking ourselves why we feel a certain way and whether those feelings are based on true perceptions or misguided assumptions. By embracing this Stoic practice, we can transform our emotional landscape. Instead of bottling up feelings until the pressure becomes unbearable, we learn to process them in real time, assessing and addressing each emotion as it arises. This not only prevents the emotional overload often caused by suppression, but also enhances our ability to interact with the world in a more balanced and rational way. Embracing Stoic principles helps us not to suppress our emotions, but to refine our responses to them. It's about finding freedom from the tyranny of unexamined feelings and achieving a state of emotional clarity and tranquility that comes from understanding, not avoiding, our emotional nature. This is the real power of Stoicism, turning what could be our greatest vulnerabilities into sources of profound strength. Number 3. Perfectionism. In the Stoic view, it's crucial to distinguish between striving for excellence and being entangled in the snare of perfectionism. The Stoic philosophers, particularly Epictetus, advocated focusing on effort rather than outcome. He taught that our intentions and our actions are within our control, but the results, often subjected to external factors, are not. This fundamental Stoic principle helps realign our goals. It's not about achieving a perfect result, but about ensuring that the process and our efforts are purposeful and virtuous. Moreover, Stoicism encourages us to embrace imperfections not as failures, but as inevitable facets of being human. Marcus Aurelius, in his Meditations, often discussed the concept of accepting what we cannot change and improving what we can. This mindset shifts our focus from what is lacking to what has been accomplished, cultivating gratitude for our progress rather than resentment towards our shortcomings. By applying Stoic wisdom, we can learn to let go of the unattainable ideal of perfection and instead adopt a mindset of continuous improvement. This doesn't mean lowering our standards, but rather measuring success in terms of growth and ethical action. It means celebrating the small victories and learning from the setbacks, without allowing either to define our self-worth. When we discard the weight of perfectionism and replace it with the Stoic practice of thoughtful improvement and resilience, we not only alleviate a great deal of unnecessary stress, but also open ourselves up to a more fulfilling, productive, and balanced way of living. This approach ensures that we are kinder to ourselves and more realistic in our expectations, which is essential for sustaining long-term motivation and happiness. Number 4. Personalizing. This is a mental habit where you attribute external events, especially negative ones, directly to yourself. This could mean believing a friend's bad mood is due to something you've done, or thinking a missed promotion is solely a reflection of your abilities. Stoicism, with its emphasis on logic and reason, provides a clear antidote to this often distressing tendency. The Stoic philosophy teaches us to differentiate between what is and isn't within our control. According to Epictetus, the only things we truly control are our own thoughts, perceptions, and actions. Everything outside of this, other people's actions, thoughts, and the events around us, lies beyond our sphere of influence. When we personalize external events, we mistakenly assume control over the uncontrollable, setting ourselves up for unnecessary suffering and distorted perceptions of self-worth. By embracing Stoic principles, you can cultivate a more rational approach to the way you interpret the world around you. Instead of immediately taking responsibility for the actions of others or the outcomes of situations, Stoicism encourages a moment of reflection. Ask yourself, is this really about me? What part of this situation can I actually control? More often than not, you'll find that your influence is limited to your own responses and attitudes. This Stoic practice doesn't just help in reducing the habit of personalizing, it also enhances emotional resilience. When you stop seeing yourself as the center of all negative occurrences, you reduce the impact these events have on your self-esteem. You start to see events more objectively and less personally, which in turn allows you to respond with greater calmness and effectiveness. Learning not to take things personally is liberating. It frees you from unnecessary emotional burdens and helps you engage with life more objectively and with greater peace of mind. In adopting this Stoic mindset, you're not diminishing your responsibility or your empathy. Rather, you're aligning your reactions with reality, focusing on what you can change and letting go of what you cannot. This not only fosters a healthier self-image, but also builds stronger, more genuine relationships, as you relate to others from a position of understanding rather than defensiveness. Number 5. Labeling. The habit of assigning ourselves negative tags based on our actions or mistakes is a significant mental barrier that can severely distort our self-perception. This habit of thinking in terms of "I am a failure" or "I am worthless" after setbacks, while common, is profoundly damaging. Stoicism, with its clear-cut and rational approach, teaches us to see beyond these labels and to understand ourselves in a more balanced and forgiving light. Stoic philosophy, as propounded by thinkers like Marcus Aurelius and Seneca, emphasizes the importance of seeing ourselves as works in progress. They teach us that our true nature is not defined by isolated incidents or failures, but by our ongoing efforts and virtues. Stoicism encourages us to challenge the validity of our self-imposed labels by examining their origins and their truthfulness. It prompts us to ask, are these labels based on facts, or are they just my perceptions influenced by temporary emotions? By applying Stoic wisdom, we learn to detach from harmful labels and instead focus on our actions and choices. This involves recognizing that while we may make mistakes, we are not defined by these moments. Instead, we are defined by how we respond to them, by our capacity to learn, grow, and adapt. This Stoic practice helps foster resilience, allowing us to bounce back from setbacks without the additional burden of negative self-labeling. Furthermore, Stoicism teaches us the power of self-talk. Instead of labeling oneself as a loser or incapable, Stoics would advocate for reinforcing our identity with positive, growth-oriented language. This shift in self-description is not about denying our faults, but about framing our identity around our ability to improve and our inherent worth as rational beings. In moving away from labeling, we not only free ourselves from unhelpful stereotypes, but also open up a path to greater self-compassion and mental freedom. By embracing a Stoic approach, we allow ourselves to live without the heavy chains of negative labels, approaching life's challenges with a clearer mind and a stronger sense of our true capabilities. This not only enhances our self-esteem, but also enriches our interactions with others, as we perceive them and ourselves in a more forgiving and realistic light. Number 6. Comparing yourself to others. This pervasive habit can quietly undermine our self-esteem and distract us from our own unique paths. It's a trap that snares many, constantly measuring our successes and failures against those of others. Stoicism, with its strong focus on inner virtue and personal progress, offers a profound counterpoint to this destructive mindset. In Stoic philosophy, the emphasis is always on the self, on controlling our own actions and improving our own lives, independent of external comparisons. Marcus Aurelius stressed the importance of focusing on one's own actions and maintaining personal integrity rather than seeking external validation. He believed that true contentment comes from fulfilling our own potential, not from surpassing others. The Stoic approach teaches us to redirect our focus from comparison to personal development. When we stop looking sideways and start looking inward, we engage more deeply with our personal journey. Stoicism encourages us to question why we feel the need to compare ourselves and challenges us to instead celebrate our own achievements and learn from our failures. Moreover, Stoicism reminds us that everyone's path is different and that each person faces their own struggles and victories, many of which are invisible to us. By understanding this, we can cultivate empathy rather than envy and support rather than competition. This shift not only improves our relationships with others, but also enhances our relationship with ourselves. By embracing the Stoic principle of focusing on what is within our control, our own thoughts, actions and reactions, we can liberate ourselves from the endless cycle of comparison. This freedom allows us to pursue our own goals with greater clarity and peace, ensuring that our energies are spent enriching our lives rather than devaluing them in the shadow of others. In doing so, we find that our true worth is derived not from how we stack up against others, but from how we align with our own values and strive towards our personal best. Number 7. Magnification and minimization. These cognitive distortions involve blowing things out of proportion or undervaluing significant achievements, respectively. Both can significantly skew our self-perception and hinder our ability to see our lives and abilities objectively. In Stoic practice, there is a strong emphasis on seeing things as they truly are, without the overlay of excessive emotional response. Epictetus urged his followers to maintain a clear perspective on events, distinguishing between what is in their control and what is not. This Stoic principle is crucial in addressing magnification and minimization. It teaches us to evaluate our successes and failures based on facts and direct impacts, rather than exaggerated perceptions or undue self-criticism. For instance, when faced with a setback, instead of magnifying its impact and viewing it as a catastrophic failure, Stoicism encourages us to analyze the event objectively. What exactly went wrong? What factors were within my control? What can I learn from this? Similarly, when we achieve success, rather than minimizing its importance, Stoics would have us reflect on the skills and efforts that led to the achievement, recognizing and reinforcing these positive behaviors. By applying these Stoic reflections, we learn to maintain a balanced view of life's ups and downs. This not only prevents the emotional roller coaster often associated with magnification and minimization, but also promotes a more stable and contented state of mind. The Stoic approach helps us build resilience, enabling us to face challenges and successes with equal equanimity and to derive genuine satisfaction from our achievements without undue humility or pride. Stoicism doesn't just help us adjust our emotional responses. It reshapes our fundamental understanding of life's events, encouraging a healthier, more rational, and more fulfilling engagement with the world around us. This shift from distortion to clarity is not just about better mental health. It's about cultivating a life of true wisdom and emotional freedom. Number 8. Avoidance. This is the habit of shying away from challenges, uncomfortable situations, or potential failures. It's a defense mechanism that might seem to offer protection, but actually limits growth and learning. Stoic philosophy encourages facing life's difficulties directly rather than avoiding them. According to the Stoics, every challenge presents an opportunity to practice virtues like courage, temperance, and wisdom. Marcus Aurelius, one of the most renowned Stoic philosophers, famously wrote about viewing obstacles as opportunities. He suggested that the impediments to our actions are not barriers, they are the path itself. This perspective shifts the way we see avoidance, not as a protective measure, but as a denial of the opportunity to engage with life fully and develop our character. In practical terms, Stoicism teaches us to break down our fears and examine them rationally. Why do we want to avoid a particular situation? Is the fear of failure or discomfort based on reality, or is it an exaggerated forecast of our minds? Stoics argue that by confronting these questions, we can manage our fears more effectively and choose actions that align with our values and long-term goals. Moreover, Stoicism posits that true fulfillment comes from living in accordance with nature, which includes embracing the natural human capacity to adapt and overcome. Avoidance in this light is seen as unnatural, a deviation from our intrinsic abilities to face and solve problems. By applying Stoic principles, we are encouraged not just to face challenges, but to embrace them, recognizing that each challenge overcome adds to our resilience and self-confidence. Rather than avoiding difficult tasks or decisions, Stoicism encourages us to engage with them as part of our philosophical practice. This not only leads to personal growth, but also ensures a life lived with fewer regrets and more authenticity. By confronting what we fear or wish to avoid, we not only adhere to Stoic ideals, but also forge a path of greater personal satisfaction and effectiveness in our various life roles. Number 9. Seeking external validation. This is a common practice where our sense of self-worth is heavily influenced by the approval, opinions, or praise of others. While it's natural to desire acknowledgement, overly depending on external validation can lead to emotional instability and compromise our authenticity. Stoicism, with its focus on self-sufficiency and internal values, provides a robust approach to combating this dependency. Stoic philosophy teaches that true peace and happiness come from within, not from external accolades or approval. This principle is best illustrated by the Stoic idea of focusing solely on what we can control, our thoughts, motives, and actions. Epictetus emphasized that seeking approval from others is outside our control and thus should not be the foundation of our happiness or self-esteem. He encouraged followers to detach themselves from the opinions of others and instead base their self-worth on their own rational judgments and internal virtues. This Stoic teaching encourages us to cultivate an inner citadel, fortifying our minds against the fluctuating opinions and criticisms of the external world. By doing so, we are not tossed about by the waves of others' perceptions, but remain steady, guided by our internal compass. The practice involves introspection and honesty about our values, and aligning our actions with these rather than with what we think will please others. Additionally, Stoicism doesn't merely instruct us to ignore external feedback, but to use it judiciously. Feedback can be constructive and is often necessary for growth and improvement. However, the key is to assess it through the lens of our own values and goals, taking from it what is useful and discarding what is not aligned with our path to personal virtue and integrity. By applying these Stoic practices, we can enjoy a more authentic and self-directed life. We learn to appreciate and seek our own approval, and in doing so, we build genuine confidence and resilience. This shift not only makes us less vulnerable to the whims of others, but also deepens our relationships as we interact with others from a place of sincerity and self-respect, rather than neediness or dependency. This approach ensures that our life's journey is driven by our true self, not by an external script written by others. Number 10. Victim mentality. This mindset traps individuals into perceiving themselves as perpetual victims of circumstances beyond their control. It's a state where one feels powerless and consistently targeted by misfortune, leading to passivity and resignation. Stoicism, with its empowering philosophy, offers a transformative approach to overcoming this limiting belief. The core Stoic belief is that our reactions to events are within our control, even if the events themselves are not. This principle challenges the victim mentality directly, Epictetus argued that external events do not harm us unless we allow them to. This doesn't mean denying the hardship or pretending pain doesn't exist. Rather, it's about changing our narrative from one of passivity to one of active engagement and responsibility. Stoicism teaches that we have the agency to interpret and respond to life's challenges in ways that reinforce our strength and resilience. Instead of asking, "Why is this happening to me?" Stoicism encourages a shift to more empowering questions like, "How can I respond to this constructively?" Or, "What can this teach me?" This approach fosters a sense of personal empowerment and shifts the focus from external circumstances to internal growth. Moreover, Stoics advocate for living according to virtues such as wisdom, courage, and justice. By focusing on cultivating these qualities, individuals can lead lives that are proactive and principled, regardless of external conditions. This virtuous living creates a strong foundation that makes the idea of being a victim less tenable. When we live by Stoic virtues, we recognize that our greatest power lies in our ability to choose our response, turning potential victimhood into an opportunity for personal development and ethical action. By embracing Stoic practices, one can dismantle the victim mentality and build a life characterized by autonomy and resilience. This not only helps individuals navigate life's adversities with greater ease and effectiveness, but also contributes to a more fulfilling and meaningful existence. The Stoic path teaches that we are not defined by what happens to us, but by how we respond to what happens. This powerful realization can liberate us from the chains of victimhood, opening the door to a proactive and empowered way of living. Thank you for joining us on this journey through the Stoic principles that empower and liberate. As you continue to cultivate resilience and wisdom, remember, the strength you seek is not beyond you. It's within. For more insights on living a Stoic life, check out the suggested video on your screen now and dive deeper into the art of Stoic living. Thank you for being a part of the Stoic Journal community. Here's to growing stronger together.